Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bet the Edge. This is Drew Dinsick, and I am joined by the great Mr. Brad Thomas. Thanks to everyone watching our NBC Sports YouTube channel, and we have a killer show today. There are midweek fixtures in the Premier League. We're going to rip through the 5-pack of matches that are on Wednesday. We also have our draw finally for the Sweet 16 of Champions League, and we will go through some of the futures and try to find some actionable bets in the futures market there. We will also talk Cognizant outright and a quick look ahead at the Masters, plus a deeper look into the 76ers struggles, which I have been enjoying. With that, Brad, welcome. I hope you're ready to talk some soccer today. As you know, I'm more of a football guy, not a football guy. So I'm going to lean on you pretty heavily today, and hopefully your season is going well. Let's get started with the Premier League Wednesday matches, where I mentioned we have our 5-pack. The ongoing kind of theme of Soccer Bet the Edge this month has been getting our Liverpool future tickets home in every which way possible. Liverpool, I want to start there as minus 190 on the three-way against Newcastle, who is plus 450. Draw is plus 350. And got to tell you, after that very, very confidence-inspiring win over the weekend against Man City, I feel like the wind is in our sails as Reds men. And I'm just curious, this Newcastle team, they're on the fringes of the top four, but they've been conceding goals like crazy lately. Is this got me a little overconfident? Do I need to throw some cold water on myself, or does Liverpool find a way?
Dude, listen, Liverpool are going to win the league. I'm on Liverpool to win the league, and I'm on them to win the Champions League as well, which we'll talk about later. But this is a match where it was hard for me to extract value on the side or the total here, right? Liverpool being around a minus 190 favorite didn't really excite me, didn't get me going, didn't want to play him on the goal handicap line because Arne Slot has been very transparent in they don't care about destroying teams. They don't care about winning by multiple goals. They care about winning. At this stage of the Premier League season, especially with the lead they have and the form of the teams behind them, get the job done. That's all that matters. Before the Manchester City game, though, I was saying it would be hard to bet a Liverpool match and not think the other team's going to score. Manchester City didn't score a goal, and they took 16 shots, didn't even generate at least a 0.99 XG. It was about 0.65. So I don't know if Newcastle are going to score, but my guess would be they find the back of the net. They have some really attractive talents in Jacob Murphy, Anthony Gordon, Alexander Isak in the attack, guys who can really get in behind the defense and score. Isak not only can score, he can create for others too. If you're going to play this from a side perspective, I think you have to play at Liverpool to win and both teams to score. But I'm playing it a totally different way. I'm taking the Egyptian king, Mohamed Salah, to score a goal. Drew, this dude is about plus 115 to score a goal. He has scored in 8 straight games, and he leads the Premier League with 25 goals. And you're telling me it's not a minus sign in front of that? I'm taking him with confidence. Their team total is around 2.5. Mm-hmm. So they're going to score 3 goals and he's not getting one. Yeah, right.
I dig it. Let's go to Man City next to take on a Tottenham Spurs team that has been wildly unimpressive this year. But I think Man City really deserves the unimpressive crown for the 2024-25 campaign. They sit right now at plus 100 visiting Tottenham. Tottenham is plus 220 on the 3-way, draw plus 310. Is this Tottenham's turn to finally get a long sought after win against the boys from Man City?
I think this is actually a line overreaction. Tottenham go out there and they look impressive against Ipswich, but let's remember that's Ipswich. They go look impressive in the match before that against Manchester United. That's just name brand. Manchester United stink. Manchester City have struggled, right? But the games they played back-to-back against probably the best team in Europe in Real Madrid, and then they played against the best team in the Premier League in Liverpool. To get an even odds or plus 105 on Manchester City to win, even without Erling Haaland, he's dealing with an injury. He may or may not start. I still think you have to consider this Manchester City team. They're not going to take 16 shots again and not score a goal, especially against a Tottenham team who can't defend. Like, this is not a good defense for the Tottenham side. I think Manchester City win this game, but Drew, I'm going to be honest, I have zero faith in Manchester City. So I'm not putting a single penny on this game.
Wow, man. It's a fun rematch from a November match that Tottenham won 4-0
Yes.
on the road. I forgot that was that lopsided, and that was a full strength Man City team. So
And City dominated that game, just didn't dominate the scoreboard.
fascinating. I can't imagine Man City doesn't have some like sincere desire to still stick in the top four for lots of reasons, obviously. I personally, and we'll know a little bit later today how Bournemouth does. I'm personally hopeful that Bournemouth can flip these guys, or flip Nottingham Forest. Still a lot left to be played. Do you think Nottingham Forest continues to come up empty in terms of points, taking on an Arsenal team who, amazingly, Arsenal -102 on the road against Nottingham Forest? This I think is kind of correctly framing sort of the gap between these two in terms of talent. Is that reasonable?
Yes, listen, first, Forest are in the best position possible. They play at a very difficult place to play, right? And now they're playing against an Arsenal team where the attack's depleted. They lost Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus, they lost Saka, they lost Kai Havertz. That's over 23 goals that are unaccounted for. And if anybody wants to say like they can just easily replace, you can't easily replace that kind of attacking power. Not with Ethan Nwaneri, not with Leandro Trossard, and especially not with Raheem Sterling. I think this attack is going to continue to struggle. They struggled against Leicester City 2 matches ago. No one wants to talk about it because they won 2-0, but they struggled to create quality chances. They did so again against West Ham. Sure, they went down a man, but I can't believe that there was any point in that match where they were going to get 3 points. Now they're playing against a very strong physical side. Especially, I think this Forest team is probably one of the most underrated teams, even though they're sitting in a top 4 position week in and week out. People always ask the question, when are they going to drop points? When are they going to drop on the top 4? Is the bottom going to fall out? I don't think it is. Well coached and a lot of really good players.
Oh man! So Brad, you're siding with the tricky trees.
I think they get at least a point out of this.
Okay. It's notable that Tricky Trees have lost 4 of the 5 Premier League head-to-heads against Arsenal since they returned to Premier League in, what was that, 22-23? I kind of don't really care who, Nottingham, Man City, which either of those two kind of stumble on the way in and open the door for Bournemouth. I don't care. I really just need the Cherries to do their jobs. But let's any kind of final thoughts on either the Man United Ipswich match or Brentford Everton?
I think if you want to talk about the Brentford Everton match, just be careful betting Brentford. They're plus 105, right? They were just plus 100 against the worst team in the Premier League last week on the road. Now just a little bit better of a price. Everton have not lost with David Moyes under the helm. I think it's gonna be a tough physical game. It's not a gimme like everyone thinks.
Okay. Good note, because I did have that one circled, but I will back off. Let's move over to Champions League. We finally have the bracket. It is March Madness coming up. Brackets are on the mind, and of course, the bracket that I'm the most interested in right now surely is the Sweet 16 round. I guess they call it the round of 16 over in Europe for some dumb reason instead of Sweet 16. But whatever. The round of 16 in the Champions League is absolutely loaded with unbelievable clubs and some really, really good matchups. Now, the way that I handicap futures in any sport that involves the knockout rounds like this is to look for imbalance in the draw. Presumably, if you take a shot on a stronger team that's in a weaker portion of the draw, you can hope for chaos elsewhere, right? Like if you take, like, let's just say, like, as it's stacked up now, if you take a swing on Barcelona, they don't have a name head-to-head matchup until the semifinals. Meanwhile, something insane could happen, like PSG knocks out Liverpool. Now, Brad bet Liverpool, so that's not going to happen. But like just kind of thinking kind of constructively here. This is the type of chaos that you want to ensue. Real Madrid play Atletico Madrid. Like you said, Real Madrid might be the best side in all of Europe, and they might be out. Right? Is there a kind of way into a bet that makes sense to you as you look at sort of the way that this draw is shaped up?
Yeah, I'd want to take the bottom of the bracket. But Drew, let me, before I get there, because I know there's some people who are on that Liverpool future as well. I genuinely believe you can put some money on PSG to win. I think they're 9-1 probably at this point, maybe 7.5 around that price. I think you could genuinely put money on there and feel confident that you can at least make it to the semifinals. All right. I don't think in Bruges, there's no disrespect to Bruges. Bruges is a really quality club, right? A team that they just knocked off Atalanta. They played tough against Manchester City. They're probably going to knock off Aston Villa, right?
Yeah.
But I think that if they do get past, they have a chance to match up really well against, let's say, Real Madrid make it, right, to the semifinals. Then you have that narrative. Kylian Mbappe against his former team. A bunch of guys who are like, we want to pay Mr. Mbappe back and show you just because you went to Madrid doesn't mean you're going to make it to the finals. So that I think that you could totally jump on PSG there, but I would take someone in the bottom of the bracket. I have two teams in pocket. I have Inter and Liverpool from the start of the entire group stage, and I'm really comfortable with my positions there. But the bottom of the bracket, I could poke holes in all of these teams, especially the big name ones, right? Like the Barcelonas, the high line, live by the high line, die by the high line, concede too many goals to be a champion, in my opinion. You go down, we'll skip the Dortmund and Lille contest because I don't believe either of those teams are legitimate title threats. But then you go down to Bayern Munich and Leverkusen. Bayern Munich have holes as well. Leverkusen and Bayern Munich, they've shown you that they're two teams that sometimes have to fight from behind. Leverkusen, right? Then you go to Inter versus Feyenoord. Inter are in a really bad run of form for their standards. So you think about it, anybody's live at this bottom because they all have holes. When you think about the top, these are just teams that are just full of firepower playing really inspiring football right now.
Okay. You've talked me into a bet, Brad.
Okay. What is it? I need
It's
to know.
Inter Milan. Inter Milan is minus 1,100 to advance. And you're right. Like their path is absolutely spectacular here. Barcelona only minus 500 against Benfica. And yeah, they are kind of the more volatile, kind of live die type of type of situation. Atletico Madrid only plus 155 to knock Real Madrid out. And yeah, you mentioned PSG. PSG is only plus 165 to knock Liverpool out. So like the idea that we wake up in April and we're like, whoa, Milan's to lose, Inter to lose, like that's actually not that crazy. So 4-1 right now for them to make the finals is extremely fun. And then you only have to really worry about like a Real Madrid or a PSG or a Liverpool, getting there. You don't have to worry about them defeating one of the bigger boys. So I'm in, man. 4-1 for Inter. I did not expect to come out of here with a bet on the Italian side. I'll tell you that.
Let me tell you this too, Drew.
Okay.
They were plus 800 at the original stage, the start of the tournament to make the finals. Would you take half the stake knowing your exact bracket, your exact pathway, and half of the work already done?
Yes.
Without
question. Absolutely. Yes. So basically, this is just the market has not corrected for path, which happens all the time. And that's why we talk about it and break it down like this. So I don't know if this is a kind of a good jumping off point for the same conversation, but like the top goal scorer market for Champions League is always a little, I don't want to say busted, but certainly soft. And right now, like it kind of reflects reality. Your favorite is Robert Lewandowski, who obviously is kind of the premier guy that accumulates goals for Barca. But he's obviously also competing for touches inside the box with Rafinha and some of the other attackers there. So, I don't 100% know if Lewandowski deserves this much support. Dortmund's Giresse is currently the leader with 10 goals scored so far, and kind of actually plays in a nice little stretch where maybe they don't get to the final, but scoring goals surely seems like a possibility. And I guess maybe I need to bring this up too, since now all of a sudden we're Intermen. The current outlook for an Inter player to steal would have to, I suppose, be what Santiago Jimenez running all the way to the top.
Inter probably Lautaro Martinez.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
he's got a lot of work to catch up. He's being doubled
up.
right now by Grassi, so it's bleak. Look out for him. But let's talk about those top two guys, right? Because I do believe that the golden boot winner, the top goal scorer, is going to come from one of those two, because they probably have the most favorable matchups for goal explosions. They get two matches, right? Barcelona gets two matches with Benfica, and Benfica can't defend to save their lives. And
Mm.
then Dortmund and Lille, they're either going to be dead as a doorknob or they're going to be massive goal shootouts. And then you pair in the next match. So let's say Dortmund advance and they play Benfica or Barcelona. Great for Gracie, right? Or Barcelona advance and they play either Dortmund or Lille. When you look at the other guys, like I was like thinking maybe we look at Kylian Mbappe. There could be a real scenario where Kylian Mbappe plays the three of the best defenses in outside of Inter in Champions League, right? They have to play Atleti, and every time they play Atleti, it's a tough, tight, contested game. Then they might have to play Arsenal, one of the best defenses. Then they might have to play a Liverpool. It just piles on of uninspiring options outside for anybody basically inside that top. You kind of want to attack one of those guys, in my opinion.
Okay. Do you have a general read on if Rafinha can steal this?
Rafinha doesn't take the penalties. That's the biggest.
Okay.
He's down and doesn't take the penalties unless Louis gets hurt. I think Robert Lewandowski is going to be the Golden Boot winner in this because I think they're going to advance. I think he's going to score 2 or 3 over the 2 legs against Benfica. And then they play against Dortmund or Lille. I think Dortmund advances over Lille. It's hard to beat Dortmund in Champions League. Then Barcelona versus Dortmund. Barcelona, the high line. Sometimes, like I said, it's live by the high line, die by the high line. Against a Dortmund back line that's so bad, you high press this team, you're going to score goals on them. You're probably going to advance. Gives a lot of opportunities for Lewandowski to just kind of climb that total up. I have a hard time finding someone who can usurp him. If you want a possible usurper,
I dig it. All right. Well, I got possible usurper Harry Kane ? He's at 7 goals already. Munich or is this maybe this is a little bit of a double-edged sword with an Inter Milan to the finals 4-1, a little Harry Kane 8-1.
I'm gonna go a little different.
Oh, okay.
Possible usurper. I'm gonna go with Ousmane Dembele. He's back right now. PSG leading goal scorer there. Dembele, he doesn't take the penalties, right? But Vitinha does, but not always in the starting lineup.
He's taking a couple.
Yeah, he's taking a couple. So Vitinha's out. That's Dembele. Dembele has a pathway to legitimately make it to the finals, and he's been absolutely scorching hot. It's not something that just kind of has been a steady stream for Dembele. He struggled to start the season, but a guy who's gaining really good momentum at 25-1. I mean, that's a possible usurper, especially if they get past Liverpool. Then they play Bruges or Villa, two legs that can be really high scoring.
I dig it. Bruges to advance, by the way, is a smashing bet. Villa is not good enough to warrant that price. Let's move on to the golf ball. And we will talk about the Cognizant Classic. Ricky Fowler joins a host of stars on the PGA Tour as they travel to Florida to battle the bear trap at the Cognizant Classic. Make sure to check out the action in the Palm Beaches Saturday and Sunday from 3 p.m. Eastern on NBC and Peacock. Now, Brad, I know you are familiar with the bear trap, with the Cognizant Classic, and you will be there in person, which means I am dying to know who has your eye as we look at the outrights for this championship.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be there. Going to try to make sure I get there for the Luke Clanton interview. The Florida State guy right now, the amateur, he needs to make the cut. I think he can have a good chance, but I'm going a different way, and I might be chalk by the end of the week. I'm going with Mr. Russell Henley to win. Yeah. Russell Henley, I've been on him. This is my second time on him this year. I was on him at 60-1, but that was a field that had Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy. The best golfer in this field is Shane Lowry. He has the same price as Shane Lowry, and Shane Lowry is a darling at this course, but I actually think he's been a better Bermuda player. And I say that because I know he's been a better Bermuda player than Shane Lowry. Why do I know that? Because he's ranked number 1 in strokes gained total on Bermuda grass in the last 36 rounds out of anybody in this field. He's the kind of guy who is always in tournaments, right? You build out these models and you look at these projections, and Russell Henley's always near the top. Some of his inefficiencies, like super length off the tee, are kind of equalized here because you need to hit fairways. I don't care how big of a bomber you are, you will get in trouble if you're not hitting fairways here. The rough is thick. There's a ton of bunkers, and there's a lot of strategically placed water. You have to avoid that. Russell Henley does a great job of doing that. Just remember, like, he played Torrey Pines and finished T39. That was at the Genesis, so not Farmers, for anybody knows the tournament changed there. But the tournament before that, where length wasn't a big demand, that was at Pebble Beach over the AT&T, finished T5 and wasn't even great off the tee. I think he has a chance to win at a much weaker field. At 22-1, it was a very palatable price.
Henley, I dig it, man. You mentioned Clanton. What's his backstory?
Clanton. So Florida State guy, he's trying to go through the program to get his tour card. He needed to make the cut last event, excuse me. It was such a, whoever the Golf Channel producers, kudos, because I was crying when he missed the putt to make the cut. Has one more chance here, needs to make the cut. But listen, the dude's a wicked good guy off the tee, probably number 2 to number 5, so top 5 in strokes gained off the tee. He's a really good ball striker, and playing on Bermuda grass is so different than playing on Pass Palm or Poana. He's a Florida State guy. All we have here is Bermuda grass. I think he is really live to win at 45-1. I did have some other names that I liked a little bit more than an amateur with 0 win equity, but he's going to be a great story at least.
Okay, well, very cool. I will specifically look forward to that as we enjoy the action this weekend. Any top 20 looks that you think make sense for those who are a little bit less, maybe a little more risk averse to swinging away on 20-1 type of numbers?
Yeah, so there's a couple options I have here. You either stick with one guy, you ride him out, or you go and you spray the field with the guys who are closer to the 400s to 500 to 1s, because the bear trap's really volatile. Well, I'm going with the guy who has a ton of course history, a guy who lives down here, and a guy who's a tremendous ball striker. That's Shane Lowry. Had the close call a few years ago. I was on him. I came on Bet the Edge and gave him out, and I was celebrating, and then the rain came and it took it all away. But it's okay, because he's had close call after close call, and I said this already. He's the best golfer in the field. He gets to sleep in his own bed. He gets to be at home, eat home-cooked meals, doesn't have to worry about hotels or Airbnbs. Sure. It's just a great setup for him, and especially the best golfer. He's about plus 120 to be top 20, a guy who's done that in his last 5 starts at this tournament.
I dig it. Masters is around the corner. You got an early look for me?
Yeah, early look, and you might think this price is not great given the form of Mr. Jordan Spieth. He's 30-1 around that price, and I actually believe that Jordan Spieth has an opportunity to see his odds get closer to 20 by the time the Masters rolls around. He's coming off a major wrist surgery, but he looked really good at the waist management. The Masters is not always about your current form coming in. It's current form at this tournament, right? 2 years ago when he was healthy, finished T4 at the Masters, a former champion. He's just riddled with top 10 and top 20 finishes. And he said this, and I thought this was really compelling. They asked him what happened in his success at waste management, although he didn't win. He said he's kind of noticed a pattern. Warmer weather has really been easier for him dealing with, coming off the surgery with his wrist. Playing Augusta, Georgia, baby. It's not going to be cold. Knock on wood. Hope it's not. I mean, Jordan, he's not going to have to worry about cold rounds or his body tightening up.
Okay. I dig it. Course history matters more at Augusta than anywhere else on earth, in any other tournament on earth, in any other sport that I could tell you. So we'll never doubt Jordan Spieth at that venue. Brad?
Yeah, it's hard not to.
Let's watch the biggest names in sports talk, including Mike Florio, Dan Patrick, Dan Lebitard, and Matthew Berry, as they cover the biggest moments on and off the field each weekday on the NBC Sports Now channel. It is now available on Peacock and free on most streaming platforms. Learn more at nbcsports.com/now. Plus, we have a special offer from MGM. Each Wednesday throughout the NHL season, pick the skater you think will light the lamp first in the game. If it's not your player, but he scores the second goal of the game, you get your stake back. Brad, I gotta get caught up in my my NHL handicapping as we are getting closer to the playoffs here, because you know why? We already solved the NBA. So it's going to be a boring spring unless I really kind of get to work on my NHL. So we'll certainly be looking into that more. And what I mean by solving the NBA is, for some reason, Brad, people in the market with real money who know what they're doing continue to bet the 76ers. I don't support it. I don't know why this is happening. I saw the Sixers take money against the Celtics. The Sixers last night closed as 5-point favorites, Brad. 5. And it was against the Bulls. Or the Bulls trying to win? Who knows? But it didn't matter because they were awful. And the current sort of vibes around this team, I cannot even tell you that there is a true kind of moment where this group comes together in the locker room and is like, we're fighting for anything. They are telling you that Joel Embiid is going to have knee surgery. He will be shut down. He did not play yesterday because he went for imaging. Like, this is absolutely crazy that they are even in the mix right now for yes/no playoffs. The current price for them to make the playoffs is 7-1. No is down to minus 1,400. At long last, that looks about correct. They are plus 145 though, Brad, to make the play-in tournament. And this is where I draw the line, because if they shut down Embiid and if this becomes the Tyrese Maxey show with the cast of characters that comes off this bench, which are they just do not play defense. Like, they're giving up 30 points plus to bench scorers around the league routinely. Like, this is absurd. I think plus 145 for them to make the tournament, play-in tournament, is just flat out wrong. Like, this team, I think, misses, and I think they open up the 10th spot in the East for somebody to come storming in. Before the All-Star break, action was resumed post All-Star break. Their over/under and win total was 34.5. That made no sense at the time. It makes even less sense now. Their next 5 games, Brad, will be at New York versus Golden State versus Portland, at Minnesota, and at Boston. You know what that looks like to me? That looks like 0-5 with prejudice. Like, this is a team that has relatively little between now and the middle of March to help expect that there will be a meaningful turnaround. They've lost 10 of their last 11. They're 0-9 against the spread in their last 9 games, despite being bet. And I think that ultimately this is just a lost season for this group in a way that there's no real saving them, which begs the question, if not them, in the 10th seed for the play-in, then who? Because this has been sort of just assumed all season long that they would get their act together and that they would grab that spot and maybe make the 8th seed and maybe be a problem for someone. That's not happening. Like, this is fundamentally over for the Sixers this year. And honestly, like, I'm glad that they're talking honestly about getting Embiid the surgery he needs and not like wasting valuable minutes of him playing in a lost season this year. So I don't really think I need much from you in terms of commentary on the 76ers, but if you had to take a flyer on someone to get that play-in spot, because there's some big prices out there, I'll give you 3 choices.
Okay.
You like the Bulls, you like the Nets, or you like the Raptors?
Okay, so listen. First and foremost, poor 76ers. I wish I had a 2-way price on them to not make the play-in tournament. I would go with the Raptors, right?
Yes.
So the Raptors, they're defensively, they're sound, right? Their problem is this team continuity. It's been consistent changes for this Raptors team throughout the season, whether that be acquisitions or whether that be injuries. If they can just finally get some serious continuity going and just go on, like, they don't even need to be great. Just go 500 over a 10-game stretch. I think they creep up and they kind of find their way up there. I don't know if I really trust the Nets. No real leader there. The Bulls are fine. No, but like, the prices, does the price justify it? I'd probably go with the Raptors. Good defense. They have leaders on their team. They just need to get some continuity going, need to go on a little run. What about you?
Yeah, so I mean, the way that my rankings shake out, the Pistons are locked in the 6 and will not compete in the play-in tournament. The Hawks, the Heat, and the Magic, I have all as greater than 75% chance to complete in the play-in tournament, and actually it probably should be higher. Like, it realistically should be more like 90%. Hawks are effectively 100%. I guess the Heat are too, now that I look at my numbers. But so that last spot right now, Bulls are plus 115, Sixers are 145, and the Raptors are plus 450. Now, it's notable that the Raptors have shortened from 11-1 to plus 450. There may be some people who are kind of itchy trigger finger getting some Raptors bets in. And that there's there's still a long way for them to go. They have a tough schedule for this next week and change. We're not expecting to see Brandon Ingram back until about March 7th, March 9th, something like that. But I got to tell you, man, this Raptors schedule is so freaking easy. After they get through this next little hurdle, it is just team after team after team who is actively trying to lose. If they win their head-to-heads against the Bulls specifically, I think they just get this spot. Raptors can get to 30 wins by my projections. They can go above that if things really do turn around for this team. If Brandon Ingram really is kind of like the key piece that fits there. So Raptors at plus 450 is a bet. And if you are interested in this, but you are someone who has patience, give it a couple, let it breathe a little. Let it breathe a little, because there is a world where the Raptors get their clocks cleaned these next couple of games, and people just assume that, oh, okay, I guess the tank is on. When in fact, I think that this team is going to kind of pivot hard, particularly in the Bulls games that they have both Friday, February 28th. And April 1st. If they win those two games head against the Chicago Bulls, the Raptors are in.
Yeah, I also think that their matchup against the Magic is going to be really important, because they get that old double-double, where they play back-to-back. That can really swing your season. The Magic haven't really been anything to write home from since Paolo Banchero has been back from injury. That's a team that you could steal two there. That's huge. It's massive.
We dig it. We are in full agreement, man. If you can at least split that Magic series,
yeah.
I'm just gonna read like the next little stretch of games, just for posterity. March 7th, Brandon Ingram is back. You welcome the Jazz to town. Then the Wiz. Then the Wiz again. Then the 76ers. Then the Jazz, Trailblazers, Suns. Finally, a test. You got to go at the Warriors. You get Spurs, Wiz, Nets, Hornets, Sixers, Bulls, Blazers, Pistons, Nets, Hornets, Mavericks, Spurs. You play two teams that are trying to get a playoff spot between March 7th and the end of the season. That is insane. I cannot remember another run like this for any team. So yeah, again, like, hopefully, if you don't already have a little bit of Raptors to do something special in pocket, wait until they lose these games, likely back-to-back against the Celtics and the Pacers, and I think then is your time to fire.
Oh, yeah. The price is going to be really good by then, too. You'd imagine it'd have to be at least 5.5 games back by then.
Yeah, I think if it's like, if they lose those two and it's like 8-1, 10-1, I think that's probably one of the bets of the season. With that, we can turn our attention to the NFL, NHL, and solve hockey. But in the meantime, don't forget to check out NBCSports.com for more information to help you with your wagers. Thanks to those of you watching us on our NBC Sports YouTube channel. And if you're listening to us in podcast form, don't forget to subscribe and rate us. Also, a reminder to find all of your favorite NBC Sports shows on Amazon Music. Just head to amazon.com/NBC Sports.